Hello everyone, welcome to Big Talk, live from Nigeria's seat of power, Abuja, where we express some political concern from Lagos. More political problems are coming into Lagos House of Assembly as the lawmakers has impeached the Speaker Obasa over alleged abuse of office. The development follows several allegations made by the Lagos State Anti-Corruption Coalition against the Speaker. The group alleged that the Assembly under Obasa's leadership spent a staggering 17 billion naira on constructing the lawmakers building gate. It also claimed that the House spent 200 million naira on its recently organized 22nd Thanksgiving service for staff. And reconvening earlier today, the lawmakers reportedly impeached the Speaker, citing allegations of abuse of office and a gross financial misconduct. And I'm proud to that impeachment. The Chief Press Secretary to the Speaker, Lagos said, dismissed allegations as baseless and absurd. And just coming into the Mojisola have been replaced as a Speaker of Lagos State House Assembly, still drawing a lot of concern about, is this really about the next election coming in for 2027? What are the reasons behind, away from the allegations of embezzlement in which the Chief Press Secretary to the Speaker have dismissed, saying that it is baseless and absurd. According to the Chief Press Secretary of Speaker Obasa, he said, it is funny how much is the allocation of the Assembly in the whole year that we would decide to spend 17 million naira on the gate. They claim that we'd expended 200 million on the Thanksgiving service that did not hold. He said that we are aware that as we approach the 2027 elections, such allegations will arise. I think some people are scared, and I don't know why. Unquote. That is a statement from the Chief Press Secretary of Speaker Obasa, who have been impeached earlier today and replaced by the first female Speaker of the House of Assembly, Mojisola, who is replacing Obasa as the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly. A lot of concern surrounding the politics of Lagos, more concern about the 2027 election as well. It looks like the Speaker have also been pointed some fingers of him publicly admitting that he will be running for the Lagos gubernatorial race. These may be the beginning of more troubles for aspirations of Lagos State, as it looks at the politicians are up again and doing in that respective state. Tonight, we'll also have a balance on that concern. We'll be getting a right person to talk to us this night, giving us an update, what went wrong, what may likely play out in the future of these Lagos state politics. Because if the Speaker, the number 3 man of the state, have been impeached within just short notice, it looks that more trouble may be coming in the future for Lagos state politics. We'll try as much as possible to follow that development and brings you to speed the concern, the participation of the stakeholders in that matter. Tonight, everyone, last week, the federal government hinted and bound to pressure from telecoms industry and approve a tariff increase for the operators. Now, mobile phone operators in Nigeria had in May 2022 demanded a 40% tariff increase, which was promptly rejected by the federal government. And following the massive depreciation of Naira and the spiraling inflation, telecoms operators has raised their tariff hike demand from 40% in 2022 to 100%. Now, rising from telecom stakeholders meeting last week, the Minister of Communication, Bozun, announced that government has approved a tariff hike for the industry. The minister, however, contended that the hike was less than the 100% demanded by the industry. Though not specifying the percentage of the increase approved by government, the minister stressed that the hike was necessary to encourage investment in the industry infrastructure and coverage expansion. Tonight on the show, we'll look at the broader implication of this move. Does it really entail that this government is about hiking for hiking, and Nigerians are continuing to decry the state of a lot of hikes in respect to tariff, issues of the electricity, issues of the fuel, and now it looks at the telecommunications are also, the whole sector are also coming in to say we also shouldn't be left out of the inflation. This is also causing a problem to us. Tonight, I'm being joined by a senior business analyst and the public affairs who joins us live here in Abuja to express his concern. Mr. Gaba, thanks so much for joining us. Mr. Gaba Wilson, thanks so much for joining us on the show tonight. Very quickly, What is your reaction first last week when we received this news? It was more of a mixed feeling for some Nigerians. One on the other hand, a concern about a lot of taxation already in the life of Nigerians. And now the government are making approval to increase again what the sector is saying they need 100%. And government are saying we cannot do 100%, but we are not yet sure of what we can do.
Well, this has been long coming. We ought to know that because these companies are not government-owned corporations, and they are not out there to do social services. They are there to make money. And one would also take note of the fact that most of the components of their business operation come from outside the country, which means there's a dollar component on whatever it is they are bringing in to be able to do their job over here. So as other things get more costly, of course, we expect them to also begin to think of how they can improve in their pricing. Because, of course, their staff too will be telling them what you have been paying us is no longer buying what it used to buy. We might need more. So that's also another aspect of it. I'm aware and I've been expecting it. But then we hope that as they do that also, the service will improve. You know, we have not been able to do this your show many times because I'm at home most time like this, and then I cannot join you via Zoom because the internet will not be too good. A lot of drop calls and all of that. People put, in fact, even the so-called cheap data that we have today, you do a plan of 10,000 naira per month, and before the end of 7 days or so, it's gone. You don't know what you did with it. Sometimes you do it 3-4 times, taking it to 40,000. So if you are going to give me for 40,000 and I know that it's going to be enough for the month, don't put me through the stress of having to put 10,000. Maybe you don't even give me the data. Maybe I don't even see it, or it comes and then I'm not able to connect to the internet until it expires and all of that. So it is not strange that we are having this increase at this time. The government is only trying to regulate price by telling them would not approve 100%. Otherwise, they are free to do whatever it is they want to do with their prices, provided the market will be willing to pay. But unfortunately, they are essential services, and we cannot say put whatever price you put. But generally, I am not surprised.
And let's look at, what the concern of Nigerians much. There are a lot of concern about issues of increase of tariff. Yes, on the other hand, the sector has to also improve in respect to infrastructure. Because these are what they are arguing, that the state of the infrastructure is so bad, and that's the reason why they're making this about the percentage that must be increased in respect to the tariff hike. A concern about how the government has continued to grapple with increasing tariff for almost all the sectors. As we speak, electricity is the same thing. You've also understand the implication of fuel subsidy removal. And now that we're having this, some Nigerians feel that there are more that ought to have been done other than just swinging up to consideration of the increase.
Well, let me, there's a stand I maintained from the beginning of this administration, and I still maintain it today, and I think a lot of experts will agree with me. I think that the policy on removal of subsidy without first achieving sustainability, local production was a policy implemented too hasty. And then the floating of the naira without first achieving a certain level in local productivity was also a step in the wrong direction. It was not in the wrong direction, but done a bit too hastily. These are the policies, the two policies that is permeating every other sector that you are seeing today. For instance, we remove fuel subsidy, and then it moves the price of petroleum products up to 300%. You should understand that most of these organizations also use this product as input. I know for a fact that most of these telecom services use diesel in some of their stations. I think they use petrol generators to complement the big diesel generators, and sometimes they put solar panels and all of that. A whole lot of power installation to help them run. And you want to talk about some of the masts that are connected to the grid, they will pay more because you have also increased electricity tariff. So if they are doing all of these, of course, every businessman goes into the business to be able to make profit. They are not going to take from their previous profit to begin to subsidize their own operation. Subsidy is a function of a government, not that of a private corporation. So these policies, in my opinion, were wrongly implemented. I think that's the word I want to use, because removal of subsidy was okay. I have an understanding of the previous administration's approach to fuel subsidy. We want to, according to that administration, what they wanted to do was ensure that they attained sustainability in local production for especially PMS. And that was going to take about 27% of the pressure on the naira in terms of import of fuel. And if we were able to achieve that and maybe have some surplus to export to other African countries and maybe European countries and all of that, then it will also give us income for Forex. And at the end of the day, that will strengthen the naira. Then we begin to invest in industrialization locally here. Since we are now refining, we have other products coming from the crude and all of that, we can start our industrialization. And when we get to some level, maybe we can start from the primary aspect, with agriculture, producing what we can eat, and then we try to produce for export market, and then we try to add value and all of that, before we can then talk about floating our currency. You see, countries like China did devaluation of their currency because they have attained what I will call almost full industrialization. China currently is producing so much and sending to every part of the world. If their currency is too strong, then it means that the prices of what they produce in China will be too high for other countries to buy. That's why they devalue. And if you look at it, that's where America is crying, because America knows that people will buy China than they will buy America if the issue of quality is settled. So I think that we ought to have implemented an approach of get the key product that we are importing available at home here. Then do some kind of investment in heavy equipment to begin to manufacture certain other smaller equipment that we can use for industrialization here, before we start talking about floating of the naira. But these two policies, in my opinion, permeated other sectors and is causing all the uproar that you're seeing today. Eventually, if the government manages this well, and the managers of our economy work late night, doing the best they can, and of course, I also believe in orientation. The Ministry of Information and National Orientation and the National Orientation Agency should be engaged. Nigerians should be told what direction are these policies going, and what are the jobs of Nigerians in making it begin to yield fruit as quickly as possible. Maybe one way or the other will be able to achieve a price for eventually. But for now, these policies will continue to haunt us until we get a good handle of it.
Now this takes me to the concern about, with the drive for access to data, access to communications, also improving how we can have more participants in respect to the digital era that we have. Because as you rightly may put, other countries are already on the top of the game, doing so much and achieving many with the digital era that we have today. How do you feel this may affect such class of people? Because if we have some low income earners or low subscribers who ordinarily were used to 500 naira subscription, were used to 15 naira, 100 naira subscription, who never could have the capacity of all of that megawatt, Do you feel that this may also, affect such class of persons and in a way, also reduce the number of persons having access to this? Because in other climes, there are those that have said in other climes that government are making data available, services available, networks, are sufficient, and a way is also driving development in all of these sectors.
Well, immediately it's going to have an effect on our achievement in internet penetration. This is something that Nigeria has done very well in the past few years. We have we have crossed the 100 million phone line boundary and even heading to 150 the last time I checked.
Yeah, almost
And
150.
yes, and we have done very well in terms of internet penetration. The phone penetration is different from internet penetration. We did very well in that, and we were hoping to build on it. But like you rightly say, this hike in tariff is going to affect those that are low income earners immediately, and it's going to affect businesses that depends on access to internet immediately. But Nigerians are very resilient people. We are creative, we are innovative. I'm already seeing certain arrangements around me and in small business areas that I'm impressed about. I went to a plaza the other time and they had an internet service from a foreign company. I don't want to do advert for anybody here. And that company is operating limitless, unlimited data per period. So all of them in the plaza came together and subscribed to a particular package that suits them, and they are all using it, and it makes the cost of data cheap for them. And I understand that in some estates too, residents are beginning to buy into such arrangement. They have the internet uh, package, and then all of them pay to subscribe to it, and it's helping them. And this particular internet service is better than almost all the internet providers in Nigeria. So I think with time we'll begin to see more of this type of arrangement, and other providers, especially satellite internet provider, will begin to look more at Nigeria and see if they can use their economy of scale to compete price wise in Nigeria. Eventually, if we don't use politics to stifle the market for other players that may want to come into the country for the opportunity that this is bringing, then eventually in the long haul, Nigerians will be better off, because competition will make us find other ways. Like if I have a good internet, for instance, I don't have to make a call over over the regular carrier. If I have a good internet, you have even Facebook Messenger can make call, WhatsApp calls and all of that. I don't have to make regular call. If you are within the range of internet, we can make our calls and all of that. Nigerians will find a way around it. That's what we do. I can always tell you
All right.
that. Although this is going to add to another level of inflation, because if I'm doing business and if the cost of doing that business increases, then the price at which I'm selling is also going to increase. So it's going to be a bumpy ride. But I think we will get through it. We'll get through it.
There have been a concurrent, or would I say repetition, of the issues of vandalism in the country, destruction of government infrastructure investment. The other time, the electricity sector were decrying of the same. Telecom, I also said, it looks at, some of our facilities, some of our infrastructure have not really been given the utmost protection. I recall recently that the president also approved a critical infrastructure protection bill, that criminalizes those who are found, vandalizing some, government infrastructure or private infrastructure. What are your concerns about the recurrent issues of vandalism in the country? We've seen a lot of destructions of government infrastructure. Is it the cause? Is it the fact that government or the private sector are not doing their work well in terms of integration of project to the community, or the host community in this regards? Or is it just a concern of the hardship in the country?
Well, you see, it's not about hardship. over time, morality in our community has gone down. And the fact that we have not been on top of our game, especially in terms of the judiciary and all of that, lack of adequate staffing, competent staffing, and innovative approach to issues in the country have made crimes and illegality a feast for all in the country. Because if somebody does something and they are not punished, others are motivated to do so. And a lot of people get away with a lot of criminal activities and illegal activities. So that breakdown in the societal moral is the fundamental problem we are having. Because there is no way you can try to relate with even the host community if this mentality is there. Our people also have lost it in terms of understanding the benefits of businesses in their community to them. If I go to my village today, I don't have internet. I may be able to make call when I'm in certain location within the village. And this has limited the people in my village. But if there's a mass close by and the service is good enough and I can have internet, it means they too can have, and other smaller businesses can pop up there based on internet. Our people don't understand this. So they always feel it's not my father's own. You would go to a place and you see somebody vandalizing government property and somebody is telling you, after all, it's government property, now you get them. What is serving you? It is the same thing that's happening to electricity installation. People come to a transformer in your society, in your community, they are touching the transformer. You are not asking them, who are you? May we see your ID card? There's something called
that a lot of concern about the hike of tariff hike in respect to the telecommunications sector. That those are really having some argument that NCC must ensure there were substantial improvement in respect to service quality. Of course, Agaba Wilson is still trying to underscore the need for the community participation in respect to what it takes for us to have some of this infrastructure protected, even when the president had recently given some approval to criminalize those who are destructing or vandalizing some of the government or private infrastructure in the country, which is a major concern. But the burning question is, we will have this tariff hike, would the level of services, level of productivity increase in respect to service delivery be guaranteed? Would there also be a concern about having the infrastructure right? These are the questions that have been asked. Mr. Wilson, if you are still with us, I would love your take before we begin to let go. Government, President Tinubu is having what people have said, a tall dream of getting inflation reduced to over 15% for the year. That you can't tax the people even when you've not done a lot of investment towards the people. Do you feel that the way we're going with the recent policies of government, back and forth in respect to the reforms taken by this government, it's possible to get our inflation reduced to that certain level?
Then has more information than you and I, and he is in the saddle. He is piloting this plane, so I think he has a map. So if he says that he's going to reduce inflation to 15%, let's trust him. As for me, based on the indices on ground, based on the indices on ground, I don't see how that is going to happen. But you see, you cannot discount the wizardry of a person like the president. Maybe he has something off his sleeves that is yet to, deliver. And when he does that, we'll begin to see it. But for now, by any realistic projection, I don't think that we are going to come down from, where are we now, 37 or 40 something to 15%. That is more than, 50%. I don't think it is realistic. But I like the fact that he's setting a tall goal for himself. It will make them work very well. It is always said that you should set your goals beyond the star so that when you fail, at least you fall among the stars. So if that is the approach here, and they are going to truly try to work towards it, for me, it's a good thing to hear that. It shows that the government has a vision. I pray that God gives them the wherewithal to deliver the vision because all of us will be better for it.
Agaba Wilson, a business analyst and public affairs commentator. Thanks so much for joining us and spending some of your evening with us. We do hope to have you again on the show.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
All right, everyone. We'll now turn our attention from issues that concern you and I to Lagos State. More problems coming from the Lagos State House of Assembly earlier today. The move by the lawmakers to impeach the speaker have been successful. They now have a replacement to Speaker Obasa. And there were a lot of allegations made towards the speaker in which they alleged that the assembly under Obasa spent over 17 billion naira on constructing the lawmakers building gate. They also claimed that the House spent 200 million naira on its recently organized Thanksgiving service for staff. There are a lot of concern about that. Even the Chief Press Secretary to the impeached speaker have also reacted, dismissing the allegations as baseless and absurd. He's saying that it's funny how these allegations of the assembly in a whole year will decide to spend over 17 billion naira on gate. He has also pointed towards the fact that this is an approach to the 2027 election. This allegation is that would certainly arise because he doesn't know what some people have been afraid of, and he doesn't know why that the House has not embarked on any such project. We are not reckless. We had our Thanksgiving last Friday, and dignitaries from various parts of the state attended. He said that the House showed a spokesperson address the allegations and the size of that concern. Everyone, we'll go on a very quick break, and once we return from the break, we'll be having a guest Johnson from Lagos to give us an update, proper balance to the understanding of what really transpired within the House of Assembly leading to the impeachment of the Speaker. Just stay with us. Many thanks everyone for still staying with us on the show. Big Talk, live from the Nigeria seat of power, Abuja. A lot of concern in respect to Lagos State impeachment. Earlier today, more drama erupted from the assembly just before some of the lawmakers moved motion to impeach Obasa and elect Mijosola. Mijosola have just emerged as the first female speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly. Now some having a concern about one who was likely being prepared to take over the job over the impeachment. It looks that the camp of Obasa are saying that this is politically motivated. This has to do with the election of 2027. This has to do with who becomes the next governor of Lagos. A concern of the APC having a lot of concern about who takes over the party's flag from the governor Sanwo-Olu for 2027. It's an early fight in Lagos State as we can continue to follow on the news. There are a lot of issues has generated. Now the speaker has become a victim of that political concern, even when they are saying that he has embezzled over 17 billion naira and a wastage of some of the locations to the House Assembly. The speaker Obasa is also speaking through the spokesman, chief press secretary, that is all baseless, that he cannot in any way have into embezzle all of that funds. But that action has just been taken, as took place earlier today. There was a heavy security presence in the Lagos State House of Assembly as this exercise was ongoing. It looks clearly to the camp of Obasa that it is about the next election. But the House, through its spokesperson, Stephen Ogonipe, addressing delegations as emphasizing that the Assembly operates with integrity, transparency, and accountability. Is that the situation over this impeachment? What is the true concern of the lawmakers in respect to these speaker's impeachment? What would this really resolve? Would this put to an end the continuous aspiration of some Lagosians in respect to 2027 election? Tonight, I will be joined by Honorable Isiaka, joining us from Lagos to give us an update about these developments, what merely start to be an early political race for the next gubernatorial elections of Lagos State. For those who may have a queue that Sanwo-Olu will be handling over upon completion of his second term in office. So thereafter, new persons and new aspirations, of course, just as we've seen Speaker Obasa, who earlier declared his intention to run for the rest. And now he has shown the way out of the speakership, the leadership of the House of Assembly, and now be replaced by the first female speaker, Mijisola of the Lagos State House of Assembly. Mr. Honorable Isiaka joins us from Lagos to give us the details on that. Thanks so much for joining us on the show. What to you may be the reason behind this impeachment?
Good evening, Michael. Thank you very much for having me. I want to believe that this is a very serious politicking going on. And if you will recall that the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces today happens to be the leader of the party, the APC, before he became president. And he also used to be the governor of Lagos State, the two-term governor of Lagos State. And ever since he left the seat of governor, he has virtually determined who becomes the next governor. His input has been very crucial to who becomes the next governor. And I think that a lot has played out so far with regards to 2027. The camp of the speaker, former speaker, coming out to say that it has to do with 2027. Yes, there might be some truth to that fact. But if we take it a bit back to December, when the president was in Lagos for his vacation and the New Year holiday, you recall that he had series of meetings with the speaker and stakeholders in Lagos, in APC stakeholders in Lagos State, where the issue of the relationship between the governor and the speaker was a major topic of discussion. And I think part of the outcome of those meetings is what we are seeing right now. If you recall, Babajide Sanwo-Olu happens to be an anointed of the president. And obviously, from some of the moves we have been seeing over time, the speaker is interested in that seat, and he has been making such moves in that direction. And that may be, for me, I think he has not struck the right chord with the stakeholders within the state. And that might be one of the fundamental reasons why this move is being taken right now. And I think it's just about politicking. When you start forgetting about where your power base belong, where the people who put you in position are leaning, they definitely would have to be shown the way out. If I remember clearly, this speaker, that's Obasa, the former speaker now, became speaker in 2015, and ever since he's been speaker throughout the tenure of Ambode and throughout the first term of the present governor, and right to this time. So he's been tricky. I think he will be the longest serving speaker so far in the history of Nigeria, and he has not been able to achieve that of his own political sagacity. No, he has been able to achieve that due to the powers that be that kept him in place. And I think he has just run foul of what they want, and that's why he's been shown the way out.
It looks that it was already in the good books of government, and for him to accept to come out publicly and also indicate interest to also run for the rest. The concern, if Sanwo-Olu is not returning again for the fact that he has completed his 2 term in office, it therefore means that the speaker is also qualified to also contest for the election. They have also pointed fingers to Sheyi Tinubu, the son of the president. Have also pointed fingers to the chief of staff of the president to also be those who may likely be running for this race. I would love to concern about what are the composition of the House of Assembly. The APC, I understand that the APC have a good number of the House of Assembly, and the Labour Party is also within the House. Do you feel that the House is well captured by one party, and for that reasons, it therefore means that the party decide who takes what, when, and how?
Well, you see, in the Lagos State House of Assembly, the APC reigns supreme. The APC has a majority in that house, and they call the shot as to who becomes what. Talking about the issue of 2027 and the governor's, the president's son, Sheyi Tinubu, and the chief of staff. For me, Sheyi Tinubu is not a factor. He's not a very strong factor in contention for the governorship of Oyo State,
Lagos State. For the governor.
Well, he has been called upon. Yes, a number of people will call upon people, but it has to do with your being entrenched within the system, and also it has to do with being anointed, as if being anointed by the president. If today Obasa is removed, it tells you that Obasa is in the wrong, is not working in tandem with the thinking of the leadership of the APC within Lagos State. That is why he has been removed today. So what that tells me is that in the political calculation of 2027, Obasa definitely is not in there, and maybe he has miscalculated, or he has gotten it wrong. Maybe he believes that he was in the calculation, whereas he has not secured the go-ahead of the powers that be that will say, yes, we want you for 2027. And this is a clear-cut showing him what the position of things are. And also, you mentioned the chief of staff being an interest. Yes, the chief of staff could be a very strong contender for that position. And if that is the case, then Obasa doesn't stand a chance at all. And that will also be a pointer to the fact of what has happened to him right now.
So would you try to say that Obasa is not qualified to run for the race?
No, Obasa is eminently qualified. He's qualified. He's a politician. He has been around for quite some time. But if you are not in the good book and you are not an anointed of the interests of the stakeholders within the state, of the leadership of the party within the state, then you are not likely to go far. Before you even start, they will show you the way out. And that's exactly the case with Obasa. I think one of the things that really got him out this early is the fact that he has been having a running battle with the governor. And we are having a situation whereby there's been this continuous contention between the two of them. And there is no way you have a speaker who will want to dominate the system and even dominate the governor. And for the political establishment within Lagos was not acceptable. And for them, the only way to cut him to size was to exit him from the speakership and then get somebody who will stay within line, who will stay within the line and do the bidding of the powers that be within the state.
The Chief Press Secretary to Speaker Obasa said that the allegations are baseless and absurd. Would you say that's the situation? Because they said a lot of concern about embezzlement, using 17 billion just to build the gates to the lawmakers' house and all of that. It looks more to the speaker that, according to the chief press secretary, that it is a baseless allegation and it is absurd.
I will take you back down memory lane a little bit. There was a time Speaker Obasa was alleged to have was accused of so many infractions, corruption issues, and was even invited by the EFCC for one corruption charges or the other. But at the end of the day, all of this were dismissed and he was let off the hook. For me, that tells me that he was still in the good book. This is something that happened in such a way that the EFCC invited him. Now, we are now having a case of an instance where on the morning of a Monday, the speaker goes to the office and his co-members decided to impeach him straight up without even any trial or any kind of questioning or so. It tells you that, look, the establishment are done with you and they do not want you in this position. Maybe you are not working in tandem with their thinking and it is time to go. So the issue of maybe what the spokesperson of the speaker said about being a political witch hunt and all of that, for me, it's neither here nor there. It is to be seen with time as we go on if those cases will be pushed forward and maybe will be prosecuted for it. But for now, I think it's not in the good books of the powers that be within the state.
So you feel that Obasa's words politically will not cause fraction within the party, APC, because now that you have impeached him, it may probably take the political move to another level. Do you feel that we should just take for granted his capacity?
Oh, well, that I would say, I want to take my example from what has happened in the past. When Governor Ambode wanted a second term, and Governor Ambode was doing very well. He was quite a very productive governor. But when the time came and the powers that be felt that he was not the suitable candidate, they showed him the way out. Even though he protested and decided to fight the establishment, but he obviously did not succeed. So, and as of today, he's back in the fold. So I think for me to be politically suicidal for the impeached speaker to want to take another political direction, he would be doing himself greater harm. So I would advise that the best option is for him to realign and then identify where he has missed his step, so as to make the correct political move, so as to be in the good books of the political establishment within Lagos State.
Would you rule out entirely obedient movement, because it really looks that in Lagos they gave the APC a lot of assignments to go back to work on. The president, the last presidential election, had to lose out Lagos, and so it was a lot of projection to looking at the capacity of the obedient movement in Lagos. If for 2027, for those that may probably said why Sanwo-Olu was re-elected was because, he was love accepted even by the obedience, in the build-up to that election. It probably looks that it might not be the same way for 2027. How strong is that factor? How strong is the concern of the obedient movement and those who probably are not in support of the APC? It also looks at the leadership from the federal government, being the ruling party APC, is also causing some problems within the Lagos state, irrespective of the fact that the president is from there.
The obedient movement issue for me is like a wave. There are such waves in during the political life of any country or nation. And when you have such political waves, there are people who ride on that wave, they take advantage of it, and they get into office. And as we have seen over time, we have seen that a number of people who took advantage of such waves have also, over time, exited and gone back to where they were from in the first instance. Examples are those lawmakers they come to the APC. So for me, I think the obedient movement in Lagos had a very strong wave, which they rode on to win Lagos State during the presidential election. You could see that was not the case in the governorship election, and I don't see that happening, except if something drastic or dramatic happened between now and 2027. I not see the obedient movement, or maybe an Obasa could use that platform to ride the wave. Another wave again into power. I do not see that coming.
Okay, I mean, some of the lawmakers who spoke after that impeachment said that change is inevitable. The members of this House are exercising their constitutional right to regulate proceedings, and as already agreed that under the leadership of the Right Honourable Speaker, they have to replace him to safeguard the sanctity and reputation of the Assembly. The camp of the lawmakers, I mean the lawmakers themselves, are the camp of those who are also in support of the actions taken today by the lawmakers, are not having the picture of 2027, you know, even in their concern or the conversation, they're having issues of allegations against him, and also saying that the sanctity and the reputation of the Assembly must be safeguarded. That is the angle they are coming from. So it looks that it's more political. I mean, would you say they have outsmarted the speaker in respect to this move? Because the other speaker is saying it looks like this is about 2027, and the other side is saying the sanctity, they're safeguarding the integrity, is about allegations of corruption against the speaker.
Michael, one thing that is a fact is that the House must have a solid ground or argument or position for the action they have taken. The action they have taken is not an ordinary action. It's a serious political move. So they must give it a very good reason. But you see, you would ask yourself the question, why was this not done earlier when the EFCC was all over the place hounding the speaker in the last political dispensation? Why was this not done then? And that's the only way we can identify, reading between the lines of what actually is happening. Yes, 2027 is an issue. Yes, the issue between himself and the governor, that's the former speaker and the governor, is also an issue. And then the issue about corruption is also an issue. And then the House needs to look at which is the most acceptable, most politically correct issue they will put on the table as the excuse for which they have done what they have done. And that's exactly what they are pointing out. But for some of us who are analysts and who observe the trend of things, we do know that there are so many other issues besides what they are putting on the table. And then the political establishment in Lagos is a close-knitted one, very close-knitted one with the leadership. And the leadership is the president himself. And whatever happened within that close-knitted family must have come from the top. So for anybody who is a very good political watcher, we will know that this is a case of the former speaker being out of line, and it needs to be shown the way things are done by not contradicting your superiors or the people that are, or the powers that be and the stakeholders within the party in Lagos State.
Honorable Isiaka Badamasi is a public commentator and an SDG advocate. Thanks so much for spending some of your evening with us on the show, Big Talk. We'll continue to track that.
Thank you very much, Michael. Do have a pleasant evening.
Thank you. We'll continue to track that development. It looks more reasons behind these actions have been, misinterpreted by the other camp of the speaker that has been impeached, Obasa. Even when they are saying, and lawmakers who were speaking after that impeachment said that is about protecting and safeguarding the sanctity of the House of Assembly. It said that the decision was meant to unify the Assembly and move the next level of efficiency and accountability. That was the reason behind the action for them at the House of Assembly in respect to getting things right. But just as my guest has rightly shared, some of these actions is a very big political statement, is a very big political move. Who may be the reason behind this? Is about the 2027. Well, as events continue to unfold, we'll know better and brings the stories as well as the conversation very close to you to understand the politics of Lagos State, in which is just an early rise to 2027. Everyone, that's the size of our show tonight on Big Talk. We'll continue to track some of these political development and bring to you the speed, some of the results, actions of stakeholders and the political actors on the field. My name is Edika Michael. This is where we wrap it up show tonight. See you again tomorrow on another edition.